In one way, that the science fiction is about what Brand's character brought up.
Love isn't something we invented. It's observable, powerful.
Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is a movie with so much confusing, mind-bending science. However, in this scene right here, something unexpected happens. The science steps aside, and the movie reveals what it's really about.
Maybe it means something more, something we can't yet understand.
So therein lies a very intimate science fiction film, which I think is brought up in this. And it's not about going out there, it's actually about coming right back in here.
But what does Matthew McConaughey, who plays Cooper, really mean with this statement? And more importantly, why is he correct? To understand this and why it changes how you view Interstellar, we need to unpack this conversation with Dr. Brand, Cooper and Romilly, and dive deeper into the mastermind behind everything, Sir Nolan himself.
It described the sort of fable at the heart of the film. It had a little bit of the dialogue.
After you kids came along, your mom, she said something to me I never quite understood.
It was really about the relationship between a father and his child.
She said, now, we're just here to be memories for our kids.
In the opening minutes of this film, Nolan wants to establish three main things. The connection between Murph and her father, the connection between Murph and the so-called ghost, and the connection between Cooper and space.
Well, we used to look up in the sky and wonder at our place in the stars. Now we just look down and worry about our place in the dirt.
These are the core elements that hold together the entire story, from the first scene all the way to the last. And I'm not only talking about the complicated science here, rather the perspective that Dr. Brand and Cooper discuss in that scene. But before we get there is a crucial piece of the puzzle that we can't ignore: the iconic score from the composer Hans Zimmer.
What I wrote for Hans to get him started was some dialogue that I'd written for the film mixed with some ideas behind the film without any indications as to genre or scale.
I sat down and I wrote this piece really about what it feels like to be a father and what it feels like to have a son, and I was writing about my son. I've written this tiny, tiny little thing, you know, this really fragile, personal thing. And he goes, yeah, I know where the heart of the movie is now.
The film music is significant because the way it was created mirrors what the movie itself is trying to do. It captures what it feels like to be human, to love, to hurt, to connect. And that also points us towards something more abstract. This idea that space, black holes, planets, dimensions, it's all just a front for something else. And as the story unfolds, this deeper meaning becomes more and more obvious.
You know, the further out into the infinite we went, and the more we isolated these characters who have to go across the universe, the more the focus naturally becomes on their humanity.
This. Millimeters of aluminum, that's it, and then nothing. Out there for millions of miles, won't kill us in seconds.
God damn it! I told you to leave me.
And I told you!
Why
Get
did
your
you
ass
leave me?
back here!
I think there's something about the starkness and the massiveness of the environment they're in that really reduces this focus very tightly to human bonds and what makes us who we are.
We no longer have the fuel to visit both prospects, so we have to choose.
The scene that this video revolves around happens right after the mind-blowing events on Miller's planet. And it isn't placed here by accident. Up to this point, the characters have operated almost entirely on logic, making decisions based on data, science, and whatever option offers the highest probability of success.
Edmund's data is more promising.
But in this moment, almost at exactly the halfway point, it changes, and the film begins to challenge that mindset.
That has nothing to do with it.
What does? She's in love with Wolf Edmonds.
It illustrates that despite these people being the best professionals in their field, human nature can never be fully overridden.
Is that true?
Yes. And that makes me want to follow my heart.
This is where the brilliance of Nolan's non-linear storytelling truly emerges. By introducing the idea of love at this moment, he subtly reshapes how we interpret everything that follows, and in reflection, everything that came before. The film stops asking us to look outward towards science, and instead asks us to look inward at ourselves. And that's when you realize the science isn't even the most complicated part of the movie.
Love has meaning, yes. Social utility, social bonding, child rearing.
We love people who have died. Where's the social utility in that?
None.
I'm drawn across the universe to someone I haven't seen in a decade, who I know is probably dead. Maybe we should trust that, even if we can't understand it yet.
However, just like Brand is explaining, it's all just a theory, and I know what you're thinking. How does this make you understand the events of the film better? And to this I respond with a question myself. Does every single part of a movie really need to be understood?
Does a film need to be understood?
I don't think it does, and I think that 2001 is one of those rare instances where it doesn't need to be understood, it needs to be felt.
Just like Nolan's nod to Kubrick's science fiction film 2001: A Space Odyssey, Interstellar follows the same path, aiming to make us feel something rather than explain everything logically. I like to view the movie as a type of human experiment, placing people in the most extreme circumstances possible, just to see what happens. Something I will return to soon when we discuss how everything affects the ending. Ultimately, to understand what Nolan wants to tell you, we need to realize that these characters are led into uniquely desperate situations, which highlights, for a lack of better words, raw humanity. Of course, we have down-to-earth and relatable situations like Tom, who doesn't want to leave his family house behind because of the trauma of what his father did.
Next year I'm gonna work Nelson's farm and I'll make it up.
Then there's more extreme cases like Dr. Mann, who gives into his selfish animal instincts because he's scared of failure and death. We have Brand and Cooper, who have to experience time and their loved ones disappear because of a mistake that happens in less than 1 minute. And then we have Murph, who gets left behind on Earth, yet never stops believing in her father, even when she convinces herself that she has.
You're gonna save everybody. His dad couldn't do it.
Dad didn't even try! Dad just abandoned us!
And this conversation brings us to the analyzed, discussed, and iconic third act of the film. Now, I'm not here to get lost in physics. We've seen plenty of videos of it. What I instead want to show you is hopefully a new perspective that makes everything in this movie click from a different angle. One of the many questions of this multidimensional space that Cooper finds himself in is, of course, why?
They saved us. What the hell is they?
Why would these beings create something like this? Why would they go out of their way to guide humanity when they clearly possess knowledge far beyond our own? And more importantly, why Murph's room? If you think about it, the idea that love is the key to save humanity is kind of corny. But Nolan makes it inevitable by connecting it to something very real, by connecting it to gravity.
One word. You know what it is? Stay.
Stay! No! 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 No!
Instead of being silly, it becomes a powerful lesson, because if Cooper would have sent the message to anybody else, it would have definitely gone over their heads, and humanity would have been doomed. People are too self-centered today, absorbed and obsessed with self-image and self-perception, that if the universe in some way tried to send us a message like this, very few people would actually notice it. Murph loved her father so deeply that she was willing to believe that he was sending her a message from beyond time and space without any evidence it was him.
Cooper, what if she never came back for it? She will. She will. One for you. One for me. How do you know? Because I gave it to her.
As a result, the most vital theme in this movie, the solution to the entire quest, becomes plain obvious. And genuinely, I think this is one of the most pure, sincere portrayals of love ever put on screen. Yet it somehow still goes over a lot of people's heads when people discuss this movie, even when Cooper literally says it out loud.
Love, Taj, love. It's just like Brand said. My connection with Murph, it is quantifiable. It's the key.
I always try to make the audience understand, you know, that there's emotional clarity to things, that you can follow the story emotionally.
Don't you get it yet, Tars? They're not beings. They're us.
Even in the final moments, the story was never really about the explosive escape, the overwhelming scale of the black hole, or the spectacle of the action itself. It was always about humans helping humans.
What I've been doing for Murph, they're doing for me. For all of us.
And when you view the movie through that lens, everything suddenly becomes easier to understand, and the ending feels not just satisfying, but completely earned. Let me explain why.
Mr. Cooper.
I have heard many people calling these last few minutes everything from anticlimactic to unnecessary, but it holds a very clear purpose to me. First of all, it brings a conclusion to the story between Murph and Cooper. If you think about it, it's the most science fiction scene of them all. An old daughter meeting her younger father. And just like Matthew McConaughey speaks of intimate science fiction, this is what it is.
Nobody believed me. But I knew you'd come back.
How?
Because my dad promised me.
It's the scene that brings everything full circle. The connection between Murph and the ghost has turned into the connection between a daughter and a father. As the score hinted, as Nolan explained, and as Dr. Brand revealed in that pivotal scene, it was love. The love between them that made everything possible. And don't think I forgot about the connection between Cooper and space that I mentioned in the beginning. Because how does the movie end? Well, you know and I know that Cooper gets out there to explore it all once again, and to become the they that helped him and humanity in the first place. If you like my stuff, you should watch this video next. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.